Oh, jeez.
Uh,
I have no idea what to expect. I'm sitting here like, I should have written things down. I don't know.
well, I'm sure we'll figure it out. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, what's the worst that could happen, right? So Character Art Podcast, episode 5. After a much needed vacation, huge delay, Troy and I are finally well rested, back to 100%. And to try and make it up, we got a double header. So we've got Crystal and Layna joining us today. How's it going, guys?
Going good.
Pretty good.
All right, sweet. And that's the end of the podcast. Sweet.
See ya.
That was easy.
and we're done.
Good talk.
Yeah. Cool. Did everybody have like a good break? I mean, I haven't talked to you in a while. Has it's been like over a month, right?
Man, yeah. Fuck, I can't even like run through what's happened in the last month, man. It's just been a total blur.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, we were just working our asses off, and parents came over, and got some bad news. My brother got sick, and oh man, just
Damn.
everything was all kind of like happening. So it doesn't actually feel like there was any break.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
No.
I had my I got Insomniac. They give us like a 3-week vacation like at the end of the year, and all I wanted to do was work and not talk to anybody, and I totally succeeded. It was so good. It's like it's everything that I wanted it to be. I just like hung out with my dog and sculpted, and I think I just grunted at like baristas who made coffee for me and stuff. It was it's pretty sweet, man. I think if I had like another week of like a break, I think I would have become like one of those like ginseng farmers in the Appalachian Mountains, with just like giant fucking like gnarly beard and wild-eyed and just never come back to society.
just wearing one of those like rice farmer hats, like that
Yeah,
inside while you're sculpting.
yeah, exactly. Cool. So I mean, why don't we get started? I mean, for people that don't know, Crystal and Layna, do you want to go over your guys' history and, I mean, what got you into the industry and like where you've been and what you're doing now?
Layna, you want to go first?
Absolutely not. You can go first.
Oh boy. My history is kind of weird and long.
You got
I
time.
don't know.
We got time, yeah.
Alright.
Totally.
Yeah, I started off with I wanted to be a concept artist. I decided concept art was too hard to get into. I was like, well, I'll be an animator, and I went to college for animation, and then got into military simulation, which
Oh, wow.
was pretty.
Jeez.
I don't know.
So
How was that like?
Mentally
yeah,
rough.
like that wasn't even with like 3D art, right? Like that's you, like
It was
with
with
like
3D art.
like so it wasn't like assassination training or not like
No, it's nothing that cool. Honestly, what I did was I would make like 3D instruction manuals for, like the AV-8B Harrier. It's like, here's a tube. This is what the tube screws into, and this is an animation of it. When you click this
Jesus.
tube, it goes in there. Oh boy!
wow.
So,
Sounds intense.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I remember working with AutoCAD data was very painful.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. And then I worked for a DS company. Was my first job. My first, first game job. First video game actually was Hannah Montana the movie. Video
Oh, yeah.
yes. So that was
that sounds
in
fun.
space. Yeah, it was interesting. I remember being asked to like bedazzle the skirts and stuff like that. And
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not a very girly girl, so it was an interesting challenge.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, I had a year there before there were layoffs, but there's you can work on so many DS games in a year. Like I think I worked on 8 published games in that time or something. It was crazy.
Hmm.
Like from Hannah Montana, I would go in, like one day I'd be making the skirt for Hannah Montana, the next I'd be going in and making like a gun in first person perspective for the Call of Duty DS game, and then the next day I'd go in and I'd be working on like something for the like a Marvel game or something.
Hmm.
That's kind of cool. Did you ever get bored with it, or the fact that it was constantly changing? Was it always, piquing your interest?
And it was my first game job. I was in heaven. I was like, this is the best thing. Tiny little skirts of like 64 by 64 textures, for the whole character. It was ridiculous. But after layoffs, then I went back to military sim, and
Oh, jeez.
that was interesting. I used to come home and my roommate would say hi, and then I'd just like start railing off about how horrible my day was, and she was like, "Okay, gonna go over here." But
How long were
I
you?
mean, military sim isn't that bad. It's just very tedious, uh, and not much room for doing anything cool.
Hmm.
How long were you doing that for?
Military sim, I've probably done it for 3 or 4 years, or maybe 3 or 2. Uh, I'd need to look at my LinkedIn. This is a long time ago. This is like 2007. Um, but
Oh man, here I was thinking this is gonna be like 20 years ago or something, and I'm like, oh man,
It's like, yeah, this is
2007. Oh,
this is a long time ago. This is like
yeah, it's
1998 or
forever.
something. Like, no,
You don't even know. Back in the day, 2007.
I was just thinking that. I think it seems like yesterday, yet it's like 2016. What were you guys doing in 2007?
oh,
oh
I think
man,
I'd have to
I
look.
was
I think I'd have to look at my LinkedIn too. I think I was just like,
I
I
was
think
I
it
know
was,
what I was doing.
dude.
What were
I
you
think
doing?
I think it's when I was freelancing. I think it's before I went to Capcom.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
cool.
I was working on Edge of Twilight for PS3 and Xbox 360, is it? No, wait.
Both of those
Yeah,
are
yeah,
so
Xbox
cool.
360. Yeah,
Both
yeah.
of
So much
those are
fun.
It was
things.
like, yeah, man. No, that was no, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, I think it's the difference here is Crystal's like perfect memory of the horrible military stuff from 2007, and then for you it's like fuck man, just 1,000 yard stare. I blocked 2007 out of my head with like a copious amount of booze.
Oh
That's
man,
pretty
yeah.
good. Oh man. Um, but I guess after that it's kind of short. I mean, then I got my internship at Vigil, moved from Florida to Texas, Austin, Texas, and I've been here in Austin ever since. I don't know.
Oh, crazy.
After the layoffs at Vigil, like I ended up getting hired on as a character artist there, and then a
Oh,
year
sweet.
later they had
Oh,
layoffs, and
yeah.
then I ended up at
This sounds like
Retro.
a repeating pattern here. It's like
Yeah,
work layoff, work layoff.
layoffs are so crazy. My roommate actually just lost her job too. Uh, well, I mean, I've been doing freelance. People can't lay you off from freelance. It's been
Yeah.
amazing.
So when you did like your internship, I mean the ones that we have at work, you have to be like a student, right? So for the Vigil one, could it just be anybody? Like was it
Yeah,
just
it could have
okay?
been anybody.
Well, I mean not like anybody. I mean a select a select percentage of character artists, but I'm guessing you had to do like a test or something like that.
I actually no. It was kind of crazy. Like I had applied to Vigil. I was like, hey, I saw stuff on Darksiders. I thought it looked really cool. Here's my portfolio. I love Warhammer.
Hmm.
Because I played the Dawn of War games because I love RTS games. I don't know. It's like the nerdiest game to, well, not the nerdiest, but I love RTS. I think it's powerful. It makes you powerful. But let's see.
Did you hear
Oh, I
that?
love
Crystal likes being a god.
Yeah.
Likes raiding and crushing everyone.
Those games are the best, man. I agree with you. Lots of fun.
Excellent. Yeah. It's just you have this massive army and you just send everyone to their death. It's just great.
Good description.
Yeah. Let's see. So I applied and I ended up talking to Bobo, James Brian Jones. He goes by Bobo in real life too. But Bobo the Seal. You know, Polycount.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get it. I go by Gav in real life too. So.
It works. But yeah, there was like some discussion online. I had a phone interview, and then I ended up getting it somehow. I guess I tricked them, and then drove myself out to Texas, and it was great. I found a place off Craigslist. I had no idea what I was moving into.
Dude, Texas and Craigslist, what a combination.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez. You're alive, my god.
Yeah, actually, Austin doesn't seem like it seems weirdly normal here. I don't know. I was expecting like cowboys and desert and cows. I mean, I was coming from Florida, where everybody is gators and tropical, etc. Old people, crazy people, Florida man. But
Yeah, I heard that like Austin is like the I don't know. I mean, I guess like the California of Texas, pretty much. Like it's not at all like the surrounding area. It's kind of like a weird island in itself. Of I mean, I don't know how you'd put it correctly, but left-leaning people, I suppose.
Yeah, it's good for people like me. I love dyeing my hair weird and doing crazy things, and people walk around here like that all the time. You don't get weird looks. That's always awkward when you go somewhere to eat and everybody's just like staring at you and can I touch it?
You don't belong.
Yeah.
They've all got like generic haircuts and generic like striped fucking, shirts on with the like plaid trousers and oh man, yeah. I remember when we were in Seattle, man, and this is a total segue, total segue, but for a second. But you made me remember when we were in Seattle, and every like clothing store we went into, it had the same fucking shirt, dude.
Striped shirt.
like for the dude.
Is it like a mime shirt or something?
Dude, it was like just a plain white kind of like shirt, yeah, and it was just striped, and it was the same thickness of stripes, the same color. It was like a white shirt with like blue stripes, and that was it, dude. And the weird thing is that as we were walking around, it was like, dude, it became like this running joke to go, there's a striped shirt guy, there's a striped shirt guy, there's a striped shirt guy, and how many like just like TV show like extras, like background guy.
Yeah.
And that's what they all look like. All these dudes were wearing that shirt, and I was like, holy shit, man, this is really weird and kind of creepy and kind of freaking me out a bit.
You're in like a city of like GTA civilians,
Dude, exactly, man, exactly. It looked like fucking generic guy character generate, just like generate, just spit these like Sims. The Sims, that's what it was. Fuck. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that.
It's super relevant. Don't worry about it.
No, striped shirts, man.
Yeah, they're the worst. Layna, how about you? What's your background?
Let's see. Where do I begin from, like birth, or do I begin from like college?
I mean,
Where do I begin?
I don't know. I mean, you could start from humble beginnings. What a young Layna was like.
Let's see. Definitely, my whole life was just eloping with video games since day one, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the story I usually tell is when I played Final Fantasy VIII and I saw the cutscene opening. I don't know what 3D modeling was at the time or that you could actually make video games or anything like that. I just knew that whatever that was, I wanted to do it. And I remember my grandma coming over once and was like, "Oh, what are you going to be when you grow up?" And I just popped in Final Fantasy VIII and was like, "That. I'm going to do that." And I was so excited.
You're gonna be a very feminine man with very nice hair that can summon a devil with a playing card to the ground.
Yep, I'm sure that's what she was thinking. Thinking I was absolutely nuts.
And you know what? She wasn't wrong.
That's who I am today, actually.
No, don't be ashamed. Be proud of it.
So then let's see. I of course did the whole sketchbooky thing, carried it around with me, and liked anime and drew all those things. And about at 15, my dad found this game design camp, IDGA, I think it was called, in Berkeley, California, and it was like a 3-week long overnight camp to make 3D characters. And my dad bought whatever the tickets, I don't know what you call it, bought a spot in for me to go. And it was fucking awesome, man. It was like probably the best experience I've had in 3D ever. I think there was some guy from Blizzard, I don't know who he was, too young. Some other people who knew 3D really well, great artists. And it was literally from like 8 o'clock in the morning to about 6 o'clock in the evening with, of course, lunch in the middle. Just learning the basics, man, like how to pull out a sphere in Maya and then put spheres together to make a little Moogle. And I was so excited and had to render it and then how to rig things simply. And by the end of the course, we learned how to make a character and rig it and throw it into, I think, called the torque engine for them to run around in and stuff like that.
Nice. That would have a totally different meaning now.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is or what that means. Its vocab didn't make sense back then, but it was all really cool. So that was the whole point. Let's see. Then after that, it kind of fell off because, from 15 to 19, there's not really any sort of means of knowing how to do that stuff. And I know it was all over the internet, but I was in Texas, like Houston, Texas. No one did that. No one even played games. It was like such a weird thing, especially if you were a girl. So I kept drawing until about first year of college, and I made it into UAT, University of Advancing Technology. Because their advertisements were very like, hey, you can come and make games and so on and so forth, and that's what I wanted to do. That was a cool experience. I actually was doing animation for my first year because I really wanted to make it onto this game design team with a few friends, and we ended up winning. I don't know if it was so much of a tournament, but more of a contest. And whoever won the best game that was made got tickets to go to GDC. So we ended up winning that, so that was cool. And I did the animations for our game. Let's see. Trying to remember all these things I haven't thought about in ages, so I'm kind of like spitting it out in chunks.
It's pretty cool, though.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they had anything like that.
As far as colleges go?
Oh, the IGDA thing with the camp. I mean, it seems really cool. That's an awesome opportunity.
Dude, yeah, I had no idea. And I had no idea my dad was going off in his own time searching for things like that. That was pretty cool, that he brought it up. I remember him sitting me down in a very serious way, and I kind of thought I was in trouble. And then he broke the news that I was going.
That's awesome.
I think it's like that's got to be incredibly rare, right? Like having this like super serious sit down talk. Okay. You're gonna
It's
go
actually awesome.
Yeah. You're gonna go off and design video games.
Yeah, I
dude,
think my dad still thinks I make the entire video game.
Dude, I'm pretty sure most of my family is like that as well. They have no idea. But it's okay. We just keep telling them that we make art, and that's, the basis of it. Yeah, so that was really cool. actually. I think my dad's been the most supportive of this whole working in video games kind of thing.
Hmm.
Which is kind of interesting because I've heard many stories that most people and their parents are kind of not really supportive and think it's kind of weird or doesn't
Hmm.
make money and you know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I'm like definitely one of those guys that like, man, I would like argue with my father like all the time about you know, this versus becoming a lawyer or something, you know? It's like,
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
you fucking imagine me as a lawyer? It's like, no way. There's no way this is gonna happen.
I don't know, dude. I'd hire you in
I
a
could.
second.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. It's like, it's Your Honor, I don't know, man. Just fuck, whatever, dude.
Fuck it.
Fuck. I mean, look at this guy. Look at him. Does he look like he do this shit? No.
That would totally work. I
Yeah.
could see it happening.
It's like, I rest my case.
Let's see what else. I went to a handful of other schools after that. Just kind of hopped around because I never really felt like, to be honest, man, I didn't feel like I was learning what I was looking for. I didn't really know back then what exactly I was looking for. All I knew is that it wasn't it.
Hmm.
So honestly, man, even after maybe 3 or so years of hopping around to different schools, it wasn't until I met Troy and studying under him that I've really learned everything that I know today, for the
Hmm.
most part. And if I had an opportunity to kind of scoop everything that I did in school under the table and it to like poof away and never happen, I would totally take it
Hmm.
and just kind of learn in such a way that Troy has taught me, or
Hmm.
even known that I could have done that from the beginning. Almost like I'm not so much self-taught, but using everything that's online. I had no idea it was even there till, recent.
Until like after the fact, right?
Dude, yeah, absolutely. After like thousands of dollars later and debt
Yeah.
drowning in it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a shame, but it kind of, I hope it paves the way for the future and um, that there's different ways to go about learning,
Yeah.
especially because we've talked about this topic so often and different ways that we can go about actually learning and doing the things that we want to do without having to empty out our pockets.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was gonna actually, I was gonna bring it up to you guys, but I think we were talking before about like alternate education, like rather than going to like AI or something like that. I don't know why I always say AI. I guess they're just the biggest target. You know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
but rather than doing that, like doing something like Patreon or like Gumroad or I mean, I guess there's like QBrush now and stuff. And I mean, when I was getting in, there's no way that stuff existed. Um, I mean, I think most people got a job if you just knew how to open Macs, you know? So,
Yeah.
um, so I mean, like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, it, I mean, I guess if you knew now, like, or whatever it is, if you knew now or what you know then or whatever, like, if you could go back, would you just have done like Patreon or do you still think like that system's kind of like flawed or you know?
I love this stuff and all these things, the Gumroads, the Patreons, and you can get, like, say you have an artist that you're like, I love that person's style and what they're doing, everything they're doing, and they're like, I'm doing a mentorship on Patreon, and you get direct interaction with where you want to take your art. It just
Hmm.
seems so cool. I don't know.
That's awesome. I mean, I've never
But,
even. Oh, go ahead, Lena.
no, I'll just say, what about you guys? You guys seem to have kind of, since you've had so much experience, kind of a deeper opinion on these sort of things because they're all
Yeah.
coming out pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I've barely paid attention to like Patreon. Uh, but I mean, things for like Gumroad and stuff. I mean, I'll pick up things like every now and then, and just kind of having like a tutorial playing like while I'm working. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of tough because I think it's awesome that you could like, you could go to like Frank, right, and be like, I want to fucking look at how he made Walter White and stuff, or go to like Rossetti and look at his stuff, and it's like a direct thing, right, where you're kind of being mentored in a way without really even like meeting the guy, right, and I mean, obviously, like going back to like our conversation with like Josh and stuff, I mean, the mentor system would definitely be the most beneficial education track, I think, like a one-on-one thing where you're kind of learning from the master and, replacing them
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's being said, I mean, I guess there is like some benefit to the school, but I mean, I'm obviously kind of against them, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're ran properly at all, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
I guess like the best way to, I mean, I guess the best option would be a mix of both, where you have a school of educators that actually want to do it and are good at their craft, and you can kind of
Yeah.
learn all you can from them versus whatever the situation is now, right? But I guess like for the for-profit thing versus like a true craftsman school.
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
think the mentorship is a big thing. Like I wasn't around for Troy's class or anything like that or anybody else's classes, but from what I hear, I would assume and I feel that that's kind of the best way to go
Hmm.
because even though you've got things that you can pay on Gumroad, which is really awesome, and as long as you know that's sort of like you're teaching yourself from learning something. But
Hmm.
when you choose to learn under someone specifically and you get to speak with them or um, watch them work or be able to ask them questions or anything like that, I feel like you can learn really quickly,
Hmm.
especially if you've found someone that you can really look up to and communicate well with.
Hmm.
So I kind of wish that, like you said, having kind of a mix between a school and mentorship would be really cool. I don't know how that would work, but it seems like a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, totally. 'Cause I mean, like the thing with the school as like, I mean, as like corrupt and evil as they could be, you know what I mean? Um, I mean, some of them do produce things, you know what I mean? So you'd have paperwork for like a visa, things that like, I mean, you probably know because I mean you're working abroad like me, right? But I mean, if I didn't have the piece of paper for my visa, like I probably wouldn't have got in. And basically, like when it comes to getting in America, um, I don't know if Troy's experience is any different than mine, but I mean, the border guys are fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what I do. Like even if I was like, whatever, man, if I was like patting myself on the back as hard as I could and showing everything I could possibly do and whatever, like they don't care. I mean, it's like if I have like work experience and an education and I'm like an actual,
Mm.
you know, whatever professional or something like that, right? So I guess like having the paperwork from like a school does like provide that, but
Mm.
at the same time, man, fuck, what a waste of money. Like, man, people are like 90 grand in debt for this kind of shit, It's ridiculous.
Hmm.
And especially because, like, compared to what I don't want to get on another rant about about school, but like basically, like, I don't know, it's just weird, like, to have, schools that are cheaper that can almost guarantee a job, and this one is like you're basically just showing someone what a possible craft could be, and you're showing people how to push buttons, and you're not really like, you know, like giving them an avenue, really. I mean, most people like get shit out of the school and then they're ready to learn. You know what I mean? So you're in debt, then you've got to go to like, Troy or somebody and have him teach you how to do something, or, find someone to mentor, or just either way, just work your ass off, I mean, that's the majority of people I find.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that was kind of what was tough for me and us because I feel like after school was over and I was freelancing for a bit and still catching up on things. In my head, I was still totally full of myself, like, nah, I got this. I've been at some good schools, and
Hmm.
dude, I can totally do characters. It's all good. It's all good. And this whole time, Troy is trying to sculpt me into being a better artist and understanding that I actually don't really know anything at all.
Hmm.
And when we had gotten a job at Grinding Gear, and I was just pumped and I was super stoked to kind of like get this thing done that I had been going to school for ages. And it turns out it was so obvious in such little time that I knew nothing, that I had
Hmm.
just spent so much time and money at these schools that the
Hmm.
real learning and understanding of 3D hadn't even happened yet. So that was a real kick in the pants, exactly like you said, learning after you're finished with school.
Yeah.
And now we kind of had to get the job done now that we're getting paid to be at this company,
Mhm.
which was great. I mean, it was a great opportunity to be working beside Troy, but I was still just so irritated that really simplistic things I didn't really get yet.
Yeah. I
It
mean, do
was
you
blowing
find?
his mind.
Yeah. I mean, do you find that like? I mean, I don't know if any of you have had this, but for me, I find that there's like a moment where it clicks, right, and you get it, and then like you've basically been like struggling or thinking that you're good and not getting any work or whatever, and then like one day like something just like happens and it all makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you're like working on characters. It's not even just like, oh, now I understand anatomy or something like that. But it's like it's almost like your design sense or whatever, just kind of like clicks into like gear. You know what I mean? At least that's kind of like what I found. Like when I was done like school, I mean, I was kind of bombing around for like a year or so, and man, I just kind of like I don't know. Like like you're saying, it's like I should have known better. Like I mean, looking back on it, then I mean, I went through the same thing where it's like, fuck, man, I'm like top of my class. Like I like everyone says that I'm good, but I mean, you know, I'm not clearly, right? And it's like this one moment where I'm like working on something and it kind of like turns out okay, and then from there it's like the learning progression just like gets faster and faster. You know what I mean? It's like this steep, steep, steep climb, and then you hit a point, and it just like goes off. At least it did for me. And I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of common, but I don't know if you guys feel that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Well, I
don't
think.
know. I didn't really get much out of school, but I would say like the traditional classes that I took, like traditional painting and traditional drawing, like I'm glad I took those. Those
Hmm.
were worth it. Learning fundamentals. I don't
Mm-hmm.
use anything I learned in the 3D classes.
Crazy.
Self-taught.
We're
Oh,
in the same boat.
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. I think for me, like this whole like kind of like area of learning and stuff like that it is cool, man, because I think lots of people learn in different ways. You know what I mean? Like I for whatever reason, I think the whole classroom idea doesn't. I think that's kind of that's ancient, dude. I think
Hmm.
because lots of people don't really learn in the same way, and I know it's cool to like just get everybody in a classroom and go, hey, open your books to like page 55. See that? Click that button. We're gonna like make the teapot, and then we're gonna strip. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
all
All the
that
teapots.
dude. Yeah, that way of learning. That way of learning is like I feel like that's to kind of generate the lowest common denominator out of the other end of the system. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you want to get like the best, if you want to take person X and get the best out of person X, somehow you need to accommodate who that person is and what they want. You know what I mean? And I don't
Yeah.
think you can get that from just going to a school. But if that person knows that, hey, if I watch this Grassetti sculpting video, I'm going to be able to understand form a little bit better.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
if they know that they can do that and spend like $35 and that will help them like a huge amount, then that's awesome, dude. That's where this whole system like totally destroys like traditional schooling. But
Yeah, dude.
um, at the same time, I guess there's like a whole social aspect of schooling, and there's a whole like there could be like some kind of connection thing that goes on at schools that could help you maybe like get a job. But even though I
Yeah.
hate endorsing that because I hate that
Yeah,
whole like
dude, I'm the same
that.
way. I kind of feel that like I'm fucking continuing a lie if I say that. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, dude, yeah.
the paperwork thing is true for sure. Um, but I mean, fuck, that's an expensive piece of paper. So I mean, I guess the alternative is you could go to any school and it wouldn't really matter as long as it's just for the piece of paper. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to
Mm,
go to like whatever the 100 grand school if you can get a whatever education for like a fraction of the cost, right? As long as it's like still like accredited, you know,
mm.
thing, right? But
Yeah.
man, like the network thing, I don't know, dude. Like
Nah.
I don't know how many people get jobs right out of school, and I don't know how many people are like companies are sifting through classes trying to get people. You know what I mean? And maybe it opens some doors, but I don't know if it opens more than like Polycount or whatever, the internet now. You know what I mean? Like social media, anything. Like you can get in touch with anyone, man. I mean, like it's like super easy. It's not like you have absolutely no way of contacting anybody at a company unless you go to school and they kind of open that door for you. It's like I don't know, man. It's
Yeah, I'm not
not
on board with that. I've taken a good kind of like hard look at myself and how I feel in regards to that aspects of schools, being like great networking and you meet so many people and you can just have beers with your favorite artists and then you get a job and I don't know, man, you may, open doors for you by networking, but if you really think about it as an individual artist, you're only opening a door to be another cog in the wheel to get the job done for the company because that person you're networking with or that company that's asking you, if you're just fresh out of school, they're not getting you because how skilled or great you are as an artist most of the time. I'm sure there's a few that have just fantabulous artwork by that time.
Mhm.
But from what I know in my experience is that I would rather get a job by knowing that I've worked really hard on my portfolio and I stick out as an individual rather than I go to this school and I know that guy and now I've got a job painting pebbles. Yay!
Yeah.
It just seems a bit silly.
Though that being said, people can always fix my UVs for me, and I really won't. I won't complain. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Or just the retopo guy.
Yeah.
The UV and retopo guy, and the bait guy, or girl, either one, dude. Just fill that spot.
Yeah.
I think if you're cool with that, if you know that that is what you're going to get as far as a job goes, and that's what the school or whatever is going to get for you as far as a job is entitled for, is if you're cool with that, then that's cool. But
totally.
if you get this job at a big company because you went to this school and you're expecting to be like head character artist because you're entitled to because you went to this school, that's the wrong way of thinking, and I feel like that's what happens more often than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which is kind of shitty because no one tells you that you're wrong. You just think that until it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of the times too, like your first game job, your expectations are probably like super way up there. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I guess looking back on it, you'd probably be considered like salty or jaded or whatever, like me and Troy. But like, I mean, I think like I would assume everybody like their first job is like, fuck, man, I'm gonna be like king of the world or something, right? And then you get in there and you're like, fuck, I'm making shoes for like a year. You know what I mean? And like, but I mean, I guess,
It's actually kind of interesting. When I went to Vigil for my internship, I was told I'd be making proxies and doing that, like UVs and stuff, and I was just super psyched just to be part of the video games, to be at Vigil, and it was so much better than placing cable ties in military sim, but they actually, they had me on weapons.
Cool.
They just, it was like I got there, I was expecting all this bullshit, and it was just like, here's a weapon. Oh, cool, you did a good job. You can make weapons. And then I remember how excited I was getting my first character gear, like armor set, and then it was just armor sets after that. It was just so exciting. I don't know.
That's awesome.
But you got there because of you showed them your portfolio and you made it in, right?
My portfolio was a mess. Oh man, I had environment art assets. I had this bear stallion I made. It was from one of the game artisan contests. Yeah, it was like half bear, half horse, and it was just like this ZBrush mess. My dominance war entry, which I sculpted entirely with the standard brush.
That's awesome.
It was I don't know how I got the job exactly. I was very enthusiastic, so there's that.
Dude, you know what? That counts, man. That counts, honestly. I don't having something to show along with being like enthusiastic and just being like a normal person,
Mhm.
the shit counts, man. Like the work, of course, the work counts, but dude, yeah, just being like a normal person and somebody that's clearly like excited to do the work and not kind of like showing up and like, yeah, man, so I've got no experience here, but I'm gonna be making all the big boss monsters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I found out it was going to be proxy work, I like that night I made a proxy of a Tau model because I like the Tau. I was like,
Mm.
yeah, and I sent that over. I was like, here, look, I did a proxy. See, there's a thing. I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
It's silly.
That's it. Like that's kind of the enthusiasm that I'm always talk about, and I didn't really get until recently. This enthusiasm for just doing anything that I can do to help, which is exciting. But I didn't feel what you're feeling outside of school because I can't help but feel that I was always surrounded with entitlement. Like I went here, I paid for this. I'm gonna do this because that's what I'm entitled to, right? There was no enthusiasm, and there was no umph in my portfolio, or I just did it because it made me excited and I'm happy. I could just tell you're stoked, even though you had all these things that you've done, and you feel like they were crazy, but someone else saw something in them, and that's why you got to where you were. At least that's what I think.
And then you met me, and I was like, dude, this is shit.
Is that really what happened?
So,
Huh?
to be
Is that
to be
true?
fair, to be fair, that's how Troy meets everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Nah.
he's like, this is fucking stupid.
Oh man,
Oh
that's
wait, I thought you were talking about Crystal.
no. Wait, no, I was
Are you
talking
talking
about
about
you.
me? Oh, yes, that happened. That totally happened. Dude, I think there was a handful of times where I was just like, "What? I don't understand." And I was just in tears because I didn't get it. And Troy was just so hard-faced about it, like, "No, this is shit. I'm being really serious with you right now." And I just
And
had to just soak in. And I'm much better for it. I would never take that back,
it's
ever.
kind of interesting to me. Like I've always had like more of an opposite. Like I've never felt like my stuff was good enough. I've always felt like, oh, it can be better. It always needs to be better. I don't know.
Dude, me too, man. I'm the exact same way. I don't think I'm at a point at all where I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm so excited. This looks awesome, and I'm much better than before. No, dude, it's all shit. I don't know how many times I've been like, fuck, this sucks. I can't finish this. Just I'm never satisfied. It's all crap.
I
Fuck,
think it's
man,
kind
you sound like a salty veteran. You're only like 25 or whatever.
of.
Are you still
Uh,
freelancing, Crystal?
oh yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I absolutely love it. And I'm working with a fantastic team. Those guys over at Creative Assembly are just phenomenal, and I don't know, they've been extremely patient with me, which is great too. Um, so I feel like I could be faster. I'm like, why am I so slow? Oh, this is horrible. But they've been really good. So
Are you allowed to say what game you're working on, or did you already say it and I'm just like off with the fairies?
I think I can say I'm working on the Total War Warhammer game. So it's
Oh.
like 100% in my interest. I am super excited about this. I mean, it's RTS and it's Warhammer and it's so cool.
Yeah, that game, the stuff that I've seen of that game so far looks insane, dude. It looks unreal.
Yeah,
So,
they're really paying attention to detail there, like with color variation and
mm,
just little things that help sell, character, creature. I can't wait for that game.
yeah, yeah, dude. It's without a doubt like the best Warhammer game, the best looking Warhammer game so far that I've seen, man. Everything that I don't know. It's like I don't think there's been a Warhammer game that has kind of like taken or showcased like all the units in this way before. You know what I mean? Like, it seems to me before they kind of got it, but this game seems to be like, dude, they've nailed it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's like there's a
I
difference.
agree. Yeah, the massive crowds are huge plus. I mean, you play the tabletop game and all, and that's what you get. You have massive crowds, especially if you play an orc army. It's insane. But I don't know. I can't wait.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool. You're I mean, you're working on your own like prints and stuff too, right?
Yeah, that's kind of hilarious. It's been something that I had been thinking about and wanting to do for like years. I actually sent Hazardous message on Facebook a while, or not Facebook, Polycount a while back. I was like, "Hey, how do you do this thing? Because I want to do this thing." I think you were like, "I don't know. I just kind of lucked into it. Good luck."
Dude, yeah, it was really. I remember the message, man. I was like, oh man, I don't really know. It was like the same as when I was getting my like first freelance jobs. It was like I started sculpting, and then somebody was like, "Hey, can you like do some toys for me?" And I was like, I guess, I'll give it a shot. And it just kind of like worked that way, and then there was like just tons of problems and printing errors and stuff that had to be worked through, and I don't know. It's just an adventure, man. I don't really know how to explain that to anybody back then. Like that. When was that? That was like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago. Oh man. Yeah, there's so many like things with 3D printing that you kind of learn trial and error, like how you make the shapes. I think the style I've gotten used to, like between visual with their 40K game and Darksiders, and then retro, like working on Donkey Kong, like I've got this like stylized big shape thing kind of. It comes really easy to me, and it translates well to 3D printing, I think. I don't know.
So I'm like a total noob when it comes to like printing stuff. Like I don't know if I've had anything actually like printed, but I mean, could you guys like run? I mean, I guess to me and anybody else who's as blind to like the subject, like can you like run it through like the process, like what you have to do, like what kind of machines you have, or like if you have your own printer, or you send it out, or how that works?
Go for it, Crystal.
All right. Oh my God, I don't know. I'll wait.
Anyone?
I kickstarted this cheap printer. And I say cheap, but like in the lines of printers, like I got like a $200 one. It's a micro 3D printer. It costs more now, but I wouldn't pay more than $200 for it. It's kind of crappy. But it's good for practicing. Like I can print out all these little like messy 3D prints and be like, oh hey, so that's what it would look like. This is cool. So I'll print things out there, and if I'm like, okay, this'll work. Like I ended up going through Ownage for my Chimera. I'm trying out a new place for the Gargoyle. It's kind of interesting. Like you can send off things to different companies, get quotes on getting it 3D printed. Like there's all kinds of places. There's a website even for just normal people that have normal printers. It's like 3dhubs.com.
Have you used Shapeways at all?
Yeah, I tried Shapeways, but it was like crazy expensive. I don't know why. Like that's one thing that's interesting to do. Like you send it off to different people and get quotes, and you're like, okay, this person is asking $4,000. This person is asking 40. This is weird. So everybody's different. Ownage for the Chimera, I knew I wanted to do like 40. I was like, I'm gonna do like my own toy lineup. I had this idea set, and like the way they work is like you can do one-offs, or you can do multiples. The more you get, the less it costs for casts. It's cool. They do molds and casts of your 3D prints. So like if everything was a 3D print, I'd have to charge like $400 each or something. It would be crazy. Yeah. but not many people are offering that. Uh, I've like done a lot of research trying to find people that offer both the 3D printing and the molding and casting. There's a few random places that offer it, but it was so pricey when I got quotes from them. And then I'm trying someplace new, Level 52 Studios. They're brand new. They have a website, but we'll see how that one goes. I hope it goes well. I'm really excited and nervous about all of it. I don't know. I'm kind of like doing this on my own. I'm just like, all right, I'm taking the risk because I just really like the idea of my own toys.
Yeah, totally.
Have you tried looking into the up boxes, like the printer?
The what?
They're called the up boxes. They got a ton of them at Weta, and just watching them work and printing out all the things we were printing was actually really good quality for the price. I think they're like $3,000. I don't know if it's USD or New Zealand, but a bit pricey, but really good printers, man. Especially because they're really tiny. And one of my friends had bought one, and he started using them for printing out his stuff, and they actually look really great.
Yeah, I haven't heard of those. I try to research all the 3D printers. Like, I'm still being hesitant about buying one. I know a lot of people are going crazy about the Form 2, but if you look at the details, it's not really that much of an upgrade. Like, it's an upgrade to the mechanics, but not to the actual quality of the print. And it's a slight upgrade to the quality of the print from the Form 1 Plus, or Form 1 to 1.5, I don't know. But I know there's like the Stratus and Envision Tech, but they're like $10,000 plus. What were you saying? Sorry. What was that? Rambling.
Oh, I was cracking a really bad joke.
Ah.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, now I gotta hear it.
No. Don't worry about it. No, you were saying that you didn't, like, you're trying to name the number of whatever the printer was, and they're all named different number. It's a bad joke. Don't worry about it.
Alright. I was gonna say, there's been talk about improvements to speed. Like, that's exciting. If you guys have seen anything, I think it's like the Carbon 3D printer, or Klimptech or Crimptech or something.
I know the one. I know the one you're talking about, but yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I think it's the Carbon 3D printer, but yeah, I don't know what they called the tech.
Yeah.
Parts as strong as metal. That's pretty cool. Looks neat.
But they were. This is like, it's gonna, like, change the time down, from like hours and hours and hours to like half an hour for a chunk of whatever it is that you're printing.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, 3D printing is changing so fast. Like, if you look at how it was like a year or two ago.
Oh man.
And at least for the like consumer market, I'm sure like for the high end, and they've already got printers that can print in full color, and I've seen pictures, but
Oh wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, the color looks a little bit dodgy at the moment, don't you think?
I saw one that wasn't on sandstone that actually looked pretty decent. Most of the color printers, basic ones, seem to be done on sandstone.
Okay.
But I don't know, this was like intense researching. I don't even remember anything about, like, I think it was someplace in Japan, maybe? I don't know.
What about the process afterwards? That's something that I was really trying to catch on to and understand how that worked, because there's so much that goes into it just beyond putting it on a printer and getting it out, the whole cleanup and...
Yeah, cleanup is insane. Everybody, there you can sandblast your print and, manually sand it down. It can get crazy. There's an article actually on mold3d.com that somebody did. Like they covered the cleanup they did on a print. It was like of a bust of a lady with branches. I don't know if you saw it, but and the guy, he goes over the entire cleanup process, and it was just really intense. And it's just like, man, you would think the Form 2, like, that printer wouldn't need that much cleanup, but it's just a part of the process, I think.
Yeah, yeah, totally, man. I mean, for me, this whole 3D printing thing, um, I don't know. Like, I guess my first experience with it was almost like 7 years ago, when I first started like on Kingdom Death. But the weird thing was is that back then I had nothing to do with the 3D printing, right? I just made the sculpts, and I had to like try to figure out how to sculpt stuff, um, that was like print ready fucking 7 years ago. And it was completely alien, man. I was like, oh, I don't understand it. Like all these undercuts and all these like weird pieces that can't be molded and all that stuff. I had to kind of wrap my head around all of that.
Yeah, did
Um,
Dynamesh even exist back then?
nope, nope, no Dynamo. So you can imagine like my joy of like cutting up models and stuff, yeah, with like
Well,
ZBrush. The way that it was 7 years ago, it was just fun, man. It's just I don't
Yay.
I
yeah, you
don't think
can't have
ZBrush
any
is
holes in your print, right? For
no
3D printing.
no
Mm-mm.
no. There's got to be basically watertight.
Yeah, it's so
Everything.
painful without Dynamesh.
Oh man. Uh, yeah. I don't even. Yeah. Once again, I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and then it kind of just started from there, and yeah, I've been kind of like harboring thoughts of really really kind of getting right into making lots and lots of toys,
Mhm.
and kind of like really ramping that up as well, just because it's something it's really interesting to me, and all of that. But um, I want to kind of get like have the producer, because I don't want to actually buy a printer for myself yet. Um, oh, hey, can you just say something?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
No, we're just all no, we're just all enthralled with you just talking.
Yeah, no. We've got like a really weird mic situation here.
Oh, is it that thing again?
Yeah, it's something to do with Layna's mic.
Yeah,
It picks.
sometimes it sounds like you're talking from space. I don't know. It's good.
What?
Well, I actually am on the space station. I'm calling you from
Huh.
the International Space
You weren't
Station.
supposed to tell anybody that.
Yeah,
He
no,
actually
no.
left wedded to go be an astronaut. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, NDA. Anyway, we can scrub that out later. Lol.
Yeah, sure.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I want to get into making lots of toys as well, but I kind of want to have it set up so I do the sculpts. I'll pass it over to whoever's going to be doing the main print, and then they'll get like they'll make a mold, and then they'll just like cast out a whole bunch of copies, because like you were saying before, getting like a resin cast, it could, I mean, depending on how big the figure is, it could be anywhere from like $5 a copy up to like I don't know, man, like $50 a copy. That would be the cost to me to have those copies done, and then everything else like stacks on top of that. So that's much cheaper than having like a like $1,000 print. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it kind of you can never like 3D print out all the copies of your toys, because that takes too long, and it would just cost so much, man. And there's no way to pass that cost on to like the average person who wants just like to have a little toy on their desktop, or a little piece of art that's like from you.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of the route that I want to go down, and I'm still kind of exploring it. Haven't really got too far yet. I'd say that, Crystal, you've probably even done more than me so far.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I've just
I
been
I
in like,
actually oh, sorry. I don't mean to talk over you, but I got a lot of the information on what I'm doing from Dominic Quick. I don't know if
yeah,
you've seen what he's been up to, but
yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely.
he's been super helpful with me, like pestering him, like, hey, how do you do this? Like he goes completely through ownage. I think even like the new Bobby that he's doing with the painted Bobby, I think might actually be done through Onage as well. Like they're offering painted versions.
Yep.
That's the rumor I've heard, but
Mm.
I don't know. I'm guessing maybe. I don't know.
No,
They're an interesting company. I mean, you just kind of send them an email, and then you don't really know what their terms are or what they do exactly. Like, I was talking to someone else. They had done a Kickstarter for uh, Sharktopede. They didn't realize that Onage offered boxes. Like, you
Mm.
can ask to have them box your cast as well. It's
Yep.
kind of crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, they basically Onage. I mean, I don't want to sound like a salesperson for Onage or anything, but they've got like the whole thing, right? You can basically just make a sculpt, send it to Onage, like ask them to give you a quote on, whatever size toy you want it to be, and of course, it's like one of those things. It's like, how many copies do you want? Do you want them painted? Do you want them boxed up? What kind of box do you want? Like, how many pieces is the toy going to be in? Is it going to be like semi-assembled? Is it going to be like just all in a million pieces? So it's like a resin kit for like kind of enthusiasts and people who are into like building their own little models and stuff like that, and painting them. Of course, you can have all of these like options, and each one of them, like Onage will break them down and be like, okay, so if you want 50 of those, it's going to cost this much. If you want 10 of those, it's going to cost that much, and 5 of those, and if you want them painted, it's going to cost this much extra, and they'll basically handle the entire thing, and even as much as like distribution as well, which is it doesn't really sound like much, and you probably don't think of it, man. But if you've got like 100 toys, and each one of those is in a box, there's like 100 boxes, man, and you'd be surprised at how much 100 fucking what 100 boxes looks like. It's a fucking huge, it's a huge like amount of boxes, man. And if you were going to be the guy to like roll down the post office with like fucking 100 boxes in your car, like, dude, it's people are gonna be like, what the fuck? So it's kind of like it's really handy, man, to have them do it. And I know that Des is kind of like, he's like really trying to like streamline that process. I mean, I did that with all of the Remy statues that I got produced. I just had owners do all of it, and it was a good and fun thing to just go through, just to try to like learn the entire thing all the way through without kind of like risking anything. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't actually have to do anything, but now for the next one, I'm gonna like start kind of delving into things a little bit more, and trying to see what I should do and what I shouldn't do and all that stuff. So yeah, it should be fun, man. It should be fun.
Yeah. The only thing about Onage that's like a real major bummer is just how long they take.
Oh,
Like
dude.
it,
Yeah, I totally agree.
like I was thinking I want to try to do conventions sometime later this year. Like I really want to try to get into Designer Con. I think maybe my toys will have a place there.
Oh yeah.
But like they took me about like a little around 5 or 6 months to do the 40 chimeras. So if I were to do designs, like how many could I get by that time? By like November, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. That
Yeah.
would be kind of awkward sitting at a table with 2 different designs. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think there is a massive lead-in time. Hey, it is like 6 months or something like that. But I think it's because, I mean, I don't actually know. I've talked to Des a little bit about this, but because I brought it up as well. I was like, dude, it's taken ages, man. It's like it was taking a really, really long time. And if you can manage your workflow so that it's about anywhere from 6 to 12 months out from the point where all of them are ready to go and they're ready to be shipped out or shipped to you or whatever. It sounds like kind of like tricky, but it's if you can plan it that way, then if you give him one design this week and then one design the next week and then one design that week, or if you gave him 2 a month, then it wouldn't be that wouldn't be like having to wait an entire year. It wouldn't be 2 6-month blocks. It would be that one would be finished like that week, and then your next design, which you delivered, maybe 2 weeks later or a week later, that would be finished basically 2 weeks later or a week later after the first lot as well. So it's kind of like that. There's just this big chunk of delay time, which is about 6 months. But then the faster that you like get your stuff to him, the faster that stuff will come out after that like block of time.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean.
that's a good point. I mean, if I could like make a bunch of designs like this week and then send them that, and yeah, I'd probably be safe. I don't know. I'm really hoping things go well with the Gargoyle trying out this new place, the Level 52 Studios. They told me, and they're shooting to go for the same quality as Onage, and they're also doing the molds cast situation. So we'll
Cool.
see. I'd love to see more options. It's kind of like
Dude, yeah,
Wacom.
me too.
You know?
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Wacom has the market over everything. They're like, you will buy our Cintiqs. There's nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're
it's
life
totally
changing,
true.
man, for sure.
Yeah. So that's that's the 3D printing section of this show.
Like now I know a lot more than I did before.
Well,
Oh,
Layna did 3D printing too, right?
Not in freelancing or anything, but working at in the 3D department, my mind was blown in so many ways. Lots of things that I didn't even understand, and I still don't, but surrounded by really talented and skilled people that know so much stuff, and I just got to see the whole process from beginning to end for the most part, even all the way to molding and painting and taking pictures of it. Yeah, so still don't have like any knowledge passed on to anybody because I'm still learning, but yeah,
the cutting and keying part, that one, I'm really interested in that one. Trying to figure out like when do you cut and key? I don't know. How do you figure that out?
oh man, yeah, that's something that I had to learn. I had to figure that stuff out fucking years ago, man. And that just it did my head in, man, honestly, because I couldn't for whatever reason I couldn't visualize the casting and molding phase. Like I didn't understand it. I didn't understand what it meant to essentially, make a mold of a 3D object. Like for whatever reason, it didn't make sense in my head, man. I didn't understand that process. But it's essentially like, imagine you've got like a block of butter, right? And it's kind of soft, and it's like you can like push something into the butter. And if you take a 3D printed like sword, yeah, and you just push it into the butter, and then you pull the sword out, the remaining space that's there, that's kind of what the mold looks like. That's a real kind of like, hey, can you say something?
Great.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of how it works. That's basically what a mold looks like.
That was so simple. I cannot even believe how many questions I asked about molding and how many times I had to like repeat themselves to re-explain it because I was like, what? That doesn't make sense.
It's a very crude. That's not how molds are made. I'm just saying that's a very, very crude example. Like,
I don't know, dude. I'm pretty sure molds are made with butter. I don't know. Like,
dude,
if I've learned one thing from all of this, it's that molds are made with butter.
Yeah, no, and I mean, but it's easy to understand that kind of like the negative shape then, right? Because then you see the hole inside the butter, and then what you need to do is you pour the sugar inside the hole, right? And now you've got you've got a sword made of sugar. and then you eat the sword.
Of course.
That's pretty
butter?
Awesome. Butter covered sugar sword.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds great.
+5 versus toast.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's really neat. I never myself got to experience the whole phase of seeing or having a print I've done in the molding process, but I'd imagine it's extremely difficult, especially when you're working with really complicated parts. I've only ever worked on, as far as freelance goes, minis that had big parts that were really simple. But when you get to complex things with holes and things that are pointy and have like deep rivets or anything like that, it just gets infinitely more complicated, and my brain sort of just gives up. So still learning how to understand how to take that down the pipeline for it to actually work flawlessly. So yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Some of the stuff that I've encountered at Weta has really, really like pushed me to the absolute limit and kind of beyond, man. I'm kind of blown away by what the guys there do and how they manage to make the stuff that they make, dude. It's just like, oh my god. Even and I'm supposed to be able to, like, I've been using ZBrush since ZBrush 1, dude. I mean, you know, and I'm supposed to be able to kind of like handle this stuff, but fuck, dude. Holy shit, you know, some of the stuff that comes our way is it's just mind-blowing, and the fact that I've got to kind of like cut and key this stuff, it's like, okay, I've got to figure out how to chop through, like, you know, no less than 50 or 60 subtools in a nice, easy way. I've got to like cut through this line here, and it's not a straight cut. It's like a crooked like S cut that goes like this and up, and it's just like, oh, dude, there is literally no easy way to do that. You know, it's easy to do that through like one subtool or like a piece of Dynamish. That's like real basic, but when you're trying to replicate that same cut through like multiple subtools, oh, dude, it boils my piss, dude. I'm just sitting there, just fuck it. Oh man, yeah.
Just losing your shit at your computer.
Oh man.
So have you done any molding and casting yourself? Like I'm kind of like thinking, okay, I'll figure out how to cut and key right once I figure out how to mold and cast. I don't know if it helps.
I've never done it myself. I mean, I was super excited to see that Dom was starting to do his own molds and casts, and I was like, holy shit, he's doing it. But then, yeah, I haven't done that myself. Not yet, anyway.
I should be soon. Hopefully, will be interesting.
Oh, dude, that's going to be tons of fun. Messy as hell, but I bet it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've gathered like the things. Like I've been doing a bunch of research. Dom told me about the Clubhouse forums. It's like this place with a bunch of traditional sculptors, molders, casters, and I've pestered them a bunch. Got a lot of information, like pressure pots and vacuum chambers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So.
dude. Yep. Gonna be like witches' cauldrons and just all these like things that you need. Just, oh man.
Yeah,
You're
so
essentially
cool.
going to be living in a meth lab, you know?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to be awesome.
I've got my a garage set up. It's gonna be good.
Oh, dude, that's sweet. You're totally ready for it. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So like for like doing like your own thing, Crystal, I know I've talked to like Troy before, and you know, obviously like you know, Troy and Layna were like talking about it earlier, but like I guess like getting like the motivation like to do your own thing, you know what I mean? Like I think we've talked about making our own games before and stuff like that. I mean, fuck man, if I had finished all the fucking ideas that I thought of, you know what I mean, I'd be, you know, probably a richer man or something like that, or something. I don't know, but or much more broke. But like for you, like where's that like kind of come from to do like your own line of like figures and stuff? Is it just like, I mean, toys are awesome, so yeah, man, that's what I'm gonna do, or like, you know, like, hey, have you wanted to do that, or like, and like how?
Yeah, it was like this huge buildup over like 3 or 4 years. Like I saw 3D printing, I saw everybody else doing it. I was like, that's cool, I want to do it. And then it was like, when I have something that's good enough. And that was the major hang up, is like, nothing's ever good enough, you know? And eventually I don't know what triggered it, but I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make this, and this is my idea. I love mythological creatures, so I have like this infinite resource of stuff I can pull from. I mean, it's not infinite, but I could probably spend the rest of my life working on that idea. I don't know. I went for it. I like didn't have any sales the first 2 weeks. It was kind of hilarious. I got like a lot of shares, and I was like, "Oh no, everybody hates it. Like
Aw.
they like it, but they don't want to buy it." But I did. Oh man, I had the whole Patreon failure thing. Um, that was interesting. That actually, that's probably what the thing that motivated me to do was. I was like, okay, if I can get 10 people that are interested in this, then sure, I'll go ahead and go for it. And one of my big idols, like Melita Curfey, she goes by Miss Monster. She
Mhm.
actually backed me, and I was like, oh man! And I
That's
actually,
awesome.
when she got hers, she shared it, and that's where I got the majority of my
Oh,
sales. I was like,
sweet.
that's so cool! I really feel like I owe her. But
That's
yeah.
nuts. I was talking about something similar like that to Troy, like if you're going to start selling your toys and you want to make tons of them and the same people are buying them, how do you stretch out your market to continue to be stable as an artist and financially, But then that totally makes sense. That someone you really looked up to and that was, quite popular in her craft bought something, then shared it, then another person sees it and another person sees it, and that's sort of how it rolls together. That's actually really neat. Didn't
Yeah,
really think about that.
that's also why I'm thinking like conventions. Like, Monsterpalooza is a really big one. Like you go to that and people are looking for that, for the kits and the toys, and
Mm.
they'll be like, ooh, that's how you get your word out, or get the word out, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't
Mhm.
know if you guys saw Grissetti's recent collaboration with Stephen Oakley. Uh,
Mm-mm.
Oh no, no, I didn't
It's
see that.
really badass. It's like this undead, like raven themed. He's got swords in him. It's really really cool. Uh,
Oh, wait a minute. Is it like a skeleton
oh
guy with like the
yeah,
armor? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
yeah,
totally seen that. Totally seen that. Yeah.
That dude is
yeah. I'm on the
awesome. That
waiting
design is
list
so
for that.
good.
Yeah, it's really cool. Man, I don't know.
Yeah, I saw. Sorry, go on.
It's okay. No, no. I was just saying, like, I'm so excited about like more and more artists doing this. Like it,
Mm.
I get to gather all the artist things. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool because you get like a piece of whatever that artist actually likes to make themselves. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
As opposed to like what they do for a day job or whatever. It's like that is a part of them, that thing there, and you can take that and put it on your desk or
Yeah,
add it to your
totally.
collection or whatever.
Yeah, it's not
Something
like
that's
diluted by I mean like for us or whatever, like working on games or working on, you know,
yeah.
films or, whatever, I guess it would be like client work, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like diluted by that, right? So I mean you can look at like someone's work for I mean you can look at like Rossetti's work for a game, you're like, oh man, the stuff he did for like whatever, the Killzone or something is sweet. But,
Mm,
I mean it's like the stuff he did for Killzone. But like for
yeah.
this, it's like, man, that's what he wants to do, right? And like with Crystal, it's like you obviously like monsters and stuff, right? So, it's
yeah,
kind of a bit of like your personality, and I mean, it's more like true to like what you are versus like what you just do for a living, right?
Mm, mm.
I have fun doing what I do for a living too. I don't know. I feel like I'm really lucky right now. Uh,
Hmm.
Things are working out great, but yeah. I mean, it's something I have a lot of fun doing. Like just having fun doing the sculpt. Like I'm sitting there like smiling and sculpting away. Sometimes I get like worried or under pressure when I'm doing something for somebody else, or I
Hmm.
I don't know. That's a big difference, I think. Being able to
Mm.
enjoy it a bit more. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. And but you obviously have like more freedom and stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. That's cool.
And it's kind of funny. Like I said back, like I started off wanting to be a concept artist, so it's kind of like I'm doing that. You know,
Yeah.
these are my designs,
Yeah,
and
Yeah, I mean,
it's
they're
like,
like 3D concepts, you know?
yeah, it's kind of nerve-wracking and exciting. Like I'm making smaller versions of the chimeras, like baby versions, and I put up a vote, and the vote is like even across the three designs. And I'm like, whoa,
Saw that
people like all
recently.
three? That's
Mhm.
cool. Yeah.
I like the
I don't
third
know.
one the best. Just saying.
I
Oh,
voted
Awesome.
I voted number 2, so
Well, Gavin doesn't count, so go with 3.
according to Google, I do count. So we'll see.
Yeah. I figure I'll give it a week and see how the votes go. Hopefully one wins. I don't know. That would be awkward if it was a tie.
That's a great idea, man. Like doing a few designs, you're not really sure what might be successful or not, so you kind of put on a vote. That's freaking really smart.
hmm
Oh, I felt left out, but now I'm looking at the picture, so I'm gonna.
Just so
I had
help
no.
me,
I had,
so help
had-
me fucking God if you vote 3.
I had zero idea of what you were talking about. Now I'm looking at it right now.
It just goes
Holy-
to show who's keeping up with you, man. Me and Gavin got your back.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I apologize.
You do realize that you've like committed yourself to making 3 if there's like a 3-way tie, though, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, so just to keep it even, I'm gonna vote 1.
Nice.
Oh
Nah,
my
nah,
god.
nah.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
I think 3 is the cutest, man. You just want to pinch his little cheeks. They're so cute.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just because of dude, you know what? I think honestly I think I'm going with Gavin, dude. I think I like number 2
Nice.
the most.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, I really do.
Yeah.
I think number 1 is like he's got that kind of aggressive thing going, and that's cool. But two is like something I could look at that and I can just kind of smile at that. You know what I mean? Like I can just be like, yeah, I can see that. Look on my
Exactly.
desk.
Two is
It just-
peaceful.
It just feels right, you know?
Totally. He's just had a meal. Like even the little goat head on the back is just like, yo, what's up, guys? And, and the snake, yeah, dude, he's just kind of like peeking out, you know, got a bit of thing. But number 3, it looks like a chimera cub.
Yes, that's why it's badass.
And
Yeah.
not that there's anything wrong with it. That looks awesome too, man. But I think I don't know. Maybe you could do 2 and 3, dude.
I think so, man. Because the whole point was just as an opinion here, if you're doing a kind of a chibi small version,
Yeah.
it kind of seems like it's supposed to be cute. And 3 is you've thrown a pose, personality, and a sort of feeling and emotion behind it. So it's kind of awesome, all wrapped up in one chimera. So just saying.
All right. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, like, 'cause like, you know, I had the idea for the chimeras, and then I was like, I'll make smaller versions of a thing to practice molding and casting. And then Jeremy actually suggested doing baby chimeras. I'm like, okay. And then I had some random person suggest to me doing female versions. I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like, I guess I could make a female version of the chimera at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I gotta figure out like where I'm going and how far I want to progress. Like I want to keep going with the big designs and also having little designs of each of those. I don't know. We'll see.
Lots of
Um,
ideas.
Yeah, I decided to call it Crystal's Chimeras because chimeras are kind of, I mean, there's the classic lion, goat, snake, but people will call like a mashup of animals a chimera. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fitting. So I might make multiple baby versions just because, you know, the name is Crystal's Chimeras, so I don't
I
know.
think that's a great idea, actually. I think one thing that kind of stuck with me for a while was when I went to one of Tara Whitlash's talks at Noman, And she said whenever she's designing a creature, not only does she kind of get into the anatomy and how it works in the background, she always makes kind of a chibi version of that creature
Oh
for
yeah, she
many
makes like a
reasons.
family.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's so
It's
cool.
awesome.
I gotta see her talk here. Schoolism. They came
Mm.
to Austin. I think it was Schoolism. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
think
know
she
exactly what you're
does
talking
stuff
about.
as well.
What'd you say, Troy?
Yeah, she I think she does do stuff for schoolism.
I don't know what
Yeah.
that is.
I have no idea.
Schoolism is like a Bobby Chew's thing.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
they visit towns sometimes. They came to Austin, so I had to go. I gotta see her. That was really cool. I got her to sign her book. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, she's got neat stuff to say. She's freaking fantastic.
Mm.
Yeah,
Her brain
she's
is just
super
filled with.
sweet too in person.
Yeah,
Just a really nice person.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
For your next poll, you're gonna have to ask the public what animals they'd want to see mashed together. Alright?
Well, and I right now I'm like kind of I have this scheme plan thing. So I had done my Patreon. I destroyed it. It was
Mhm.
a horrible idea because you can't really set a price for these, like, because you don't know what if. And for the gargoyle, I wanted to make it 5 inches
Mhm.
instead of 4 inches, so that brings it up in price. So if I have a
Mm.
set price, then I gotta like adjust the price for the Patreon. I don't know. It gets weird, so I just killed it. I was
Mhm.
like, whatever. But I did have those 10 people that signed up, so I figured each person I will ask, like, give me 3 creatures from this
Mhm.
mythological creature list, and I'll do a poll between those 3. That I did that for the gargoyle, but it wasn't public because it was and that was on the Patreon. I did that for the third one. It was like I did it. I posted it on my Facebook, and it ended up being picked the Bakunawa.
Mhm.
I don't know how to say it. It's a sea
Mm.
serpent that's believed to cause the eclipse.
Ah,
It's really cool.
sounds nice.
Um,
Mm.
but yeah, so I'm going through each of the Patreons first, asking them to give me 3 choices, and then doing a poll on those 3 choices. Once I've gone through all 10, I don't know. Maybe I'll just like ask the internet randomly, "Hey
Mhm.
guys, pick something, whatever."
Yeah, I'm actually. It's actually kind of cool to hear you say that because I remember looking at it. I remember looking at the very first when you first made it, when you first made the Patreon, and I was like, hey, man, I remember saying this to Layna. I was like, man, I'm really curious to see how this works out because I had no what you just said about like you had no way of like adjusting the price based on what you wanted to like what scale you wanted to do and all the rest of it. I had no idea how you were going to work that out. I was literally going, oh man, this looks like it's going to be fun, and if she manages to pull this off, man, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I really just wanted to use Patreon for something other than like a school. Everybody
Yeah.
uses it as like I will teach you. I mean, it's cool and all, and not to, and that's a really neat thing. But
Mm.
I don't like uh live streaming or
Mhm.
Yeah.
anything, and I don't think I'm good enough to mentor anyone. So it's like, okay, I don't want to do those things. What are other ways you could do a Patreon? And I was like, well, this might be neat, a physical product. That sounds really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I actually had a couple friends contact me and say, hey, I'm not signing up for this, but I want one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
But,
was one of those.
Yeah.
I definitely asked you about that. I remember I was like, dude, these are so cool. How do you even do this? Well, where do I look out? And then I didn't even know that Patreon didn't even work out at the end of it. So this is the first time hearing of it.
yeah, I ended up, I've got a website, Crystal's Chimeras. I ended up going through Store Envy for posting
Oh,
all
dude,
my
yeah.
sales.
I love Store
But
Envy.
Yeah, it's great. It's better than Etsy. Etsy like charges you to post a thing, I think. I tried posting something on there and was like, nah, don't like it. Uh,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Oh, so you've got like an online store?
yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
I'm trying
rad.
to find it. I found
it,
another crystal chimera, but that's not you.
yeah, it should
Oh,
be crystalschimeras.com, and my name is spelt weird, so it makes it weird.
oh
O
yeah, I
E L.
totally got it. Totally
Yeah.
got it. That's rad.
It's pretty cool. I actually only have 3 chimeras left, and one of them I'm planning to paint once I figure out how to paint. But that's really cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I have this airbrush that I bought like 4 years ago, and now I have like an excuse to use it. I'm like, oh boy, and I was like splattering paint everywhere with it. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
That's freaking cool, man. They're going through all the phases of learning all these steps and still being excited no matter like what you're going through. That's kind of really what's the word? That's inspiring. There we go.
Yeah,
Dictionaries.
totally.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but like I love learning new things. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would have made it in this industry if I didn't have that kind of thing about me, I guess. I don't know. There's
Mhm.
always so much to learn. I mean, right now, like, I still need to try out Marvelous Designer. Like, that's a huge thing these days.
Yeah.
You're in for a enlightening experience.
Oh, I
Oh,
bet.
yeah. You
I
should
don't
just get Gavin to give you a tutorial on how to make some pants, man.
Oh, fucking Christ, dude.
Does it
I
take
don't
Oh,
know,
long?
man.
yeah, I forgot that you were looking at my screen when I was doing that, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus. Just I, there's like a so I like Marvelous, but there's like a point for me, and I think it's just like my stubbornness or whatever. But like there'll be a certain point where I'll be like lifting a sleeve to try and get it over like a guy's wrist or like trying to pull up a guy's pants so that they fit on the waist better and stuff like that. I'm just like, man, I could be doing this in ZBrush like so much faster. And I mean, like, I don't know. So I've kind of got this like workflow now where I just use it. It kind of gets like rough fold work, and I'll just project it onto a sculpt, and I just totally avoid the whole like you know fidgeting with stuff. So it's kind of like a hybrid now. But yeah, man, it's great and fucking terrifying all at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not very good at sculpting cloth, so I'm like, oh boy, a cheat program.
Hmm.
My buddy Adam Schumann, he was kind of cringed at it because he loves sculpting cloth. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know, man. I've heard so much about Marvelous, but there's like a really deep part of me that doesn't even want to look at it until I actually teach myself how to vaguely understand cloth and just go from the roots kind of thing and then go to Marvelous. Because if I never learn how cloth works, how am I going to kind of get out of just using Marvelous? You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
yeah, it sounds smart, but also, I mean, think about the time you could save. Just skip it. I'm kidding. I I love faster things, but having fundamentals that's the right way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man, I enjoy sculpting cloth. Just with like Marvelous, it kind of gets you, I mean, like I guess like believable fold work, and it's kind of consistent, right? So if you have like settings and you run a sim and you're working on a big project, I mean, the only real like you know room for error there is just adding like surface details and seam work and stuff like that. So it kind of gets you this like consistency pass, without like everybody having to like sculpt like the exact same way all the time. So
Mm.
it can be helpful for time though, man. Like I don't know. It can kind of be like a shortcut, or I mean not a shortcut. That sounds stupid, but like I don't know. It kind of speeds things up a bit and removes like the tediousness of like you know making like a base mesh, like another T-shirt base mesh or something, right? And yeah, but for me, man,
Yeah,
there's like
kit
this.
for production, pretty much.
Yeah, totally. But for me, there's still like the breaking point of like, oh, okay, that's enough, and just kind of like save it out, and then like go back to like my old ways, I suppose. But um, yeah, I don't
How
know.
does Marvelous work with different materials, like if silk and leather and
hmm
so on
So
and so forth?
you basically have like a bunch of like settings that you can adjust the like stiffness of the fabric and basically like the effect of gravity and like elasticity and stuff like that. They have like a bunch of like presets that you can do, but you can also make your own like blended fabric or whatever, right? So, but I mean for me like it's mostly just I'll do like leather if I need like like a belt or something. It's like more of like a stiff thing with like not a lot of like folds, and then do like silk or gabardine or cotton or whatever for you know baggy clothes or things that actually has like folds going on.
Mm. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I mean, especially like man, there's like people that are I mean they'd be like seamstresses, and I don't really know what the male counterpart of that is. Seamsters, I don't know, but uh, like people who do that, and I guess like fashion, like people that are in like the fashion track, they kind of go into this, and they just bang stuff out, right? Because they're used to like pattern work, and that's basically what Marvelous is based off of, right? Is making these like patterns in 2D that you would for sewing or like manufacturing clothes. And then you just run the sim and adjust, and it's kind of it's good to go. But I mean, they still need like to me, you still at least need the like pass and ZBrush, because like Marvelous, in order to get anything that's like really tight detail, like you have to like up the I don't know, whatever it's based subdivisions basically, and it just nukes your computer, man. Like it takes forever to do this. So I mean, for me, it's like at most kind of like a moderate like base mesh kind of thing, and then ZBrush is the detailing, like surface and seam work and whatever. Uh, meh.
Yeah, it does sound like a good idea. I remember working with kind of realistic materials for the first time, working on that maiden piece,
hmm
and I wanted to pull my hair out. I just didn't. Oh my God. Like
Yeah.
trying to understand hand sculpting silk or like that or flowy blousey type fabric versus
hmm
leather versus, and it's like a kind of medieval piece. So she's got like 5 different colored leather, but I didn't know if it was leather or what. So when you're sculpting it, it ends up all looking the same.
Yeah,
And I
totally.
just, oh my God, wanted to blow my brains out.
Yeah. The thing with like Marvelous too is that like I mean, you guys have probably seen like someone's like portfolio or something. It's like obviously like a Marvelous designer
Oh
piece. You
yeah.
know what I mean? And like I think like
Yes.
every new cool piece of software goes through that, right? Like when you had the crazy bump, like everything was like insanely fucking overly like normal mapped and shit. Um, and well, like with this, it's kind of the same, where it's like yeah, it's like a big baggy, dynamic wrinkles like thing. And I don't know, man. Like what I've noticed is that unless you're kind of making something that's like kind of like skin tight or like sensitive to skin, it like isn't always like game friendly, because you have to end up making this like this game mesh that has shapes kind of baked into it, so that as soon as it animates, it kind of falls apart. Like
Yeah.
if you had like a baggy like sleeve or something that's like cinched at the elbow, and like you move the arm, it kind of retains that shape, so it kind of looks like this weird blocky fold when it should just kind of like swish around and stuff. So I don't know. It's
Yeah, that's what I had to go through as well. Sculpting was one thing, but going through the process of making it a low poly and then trying to pose it, it that was totally pointless. It doesn't even look like flowy cloth anymore at the sleeves,
yeah
because the moment it moved, it just, or even after you bake it and color it, unless you had some sort of shader that was transparent, and then I forgot to like put an arm underneath because then I attached the polys on the sleeve to the arm, and I was just like, man, It's so complicated. So
Yeah,
I just
totally.
nah, it's nope, I gave up.
Yeah. So I mean, I hate to do this and like cut it short, but I think I gotta go. I got like my girlfriend's birthday party, so gonna head out here.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
All right.
sounds
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
it's been
awesome.
good.
Okay. Yeah. So man, it was awesome talking to all of you. Man, I haven't
Yeah,
talked to Troy in forever, and yeah, man, it was great. Great catching up, and you know, kind of finally putting like voices to faces.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, that
All
was
right.
good. Good chat.
yeah,
Awesome.
it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. That's it.
Not nearly as terrifying as you expected.
Oh, I
Me?
did ramble at the beginning. I was like, oh, my history. Let me just list everything off real fast.
I was
And
just
then
gonna
I
wait. It's
sat
okay.
there, like Layna was talking. I was like, oh, I should have said that.
Like,
Yeah,
that's what I
I
should have done.
started off with the Atari. Damn.
Yeah.
The
uh,
next chat we have, we'll just write it all down and then spew it all out. It'll be great.
Totally.
oh boy. Uh,
All right, guys.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
take it easy.
Cool.
yeah,
Bye.
Bye.
see ya.